March 1945, Rhine River, West Germany. The morning mist mingles with artillery smoke. On the other side, American tanks wait silently, like restrained predators. Among them, General Courtney Hodges surveys the horizon, the Rhine, the Reich's last natural barrier. On the distant hills, German officers laugh. "They'll never cross here," says a Wehrmacht colonel, pointing his binoculars. "The Rhine will swallow any attempt. That's the limit of American arrogance." The echo of their laughter mingles with the distant sound of muffled engines. On the Allied side, a sergeant looks at the map and whispers, "They say there is no bridge, but what if there is?" What the Germans didn't know was that on that day, they were about to witness the collapse of the very myth of invincibility. The monster wasn't a tank, nor was it a plane. It was a bridge, the Bailey Bridge. Conceived in 1940 by Donald Bailey, a British civil engineer with a modest appearance and a calm voice. As London burned under the Blitz, Bailey worked through the night with steel models and bolts, trying to solve a problem no one considered urgent: how to build a bridge fast, strong, and portable enough for the army to cross any obstacle in total war. The concept seemed too simple, a modular set of metal panels connected like a child's toy. No cranes, no complex rivets, just men, hammers, and pure geometry. But when he presented the project to the War Office, the generals scoffed. "That's engineering junk, Bailey. Bridges aren't built with screws and hope." Even within the Allies, there was resistance. American engineers called the system inefficient, unstable, and too slow for real combat conditions. In initial tests, the structures collapsed under the weight of the Sherman tanks. The joints twisted. The cross-members vibrated like bones about to break. Bailey silently wrote everything down. He reinforced the design, doubled the number of panels, redesigned the pin connections. "It's not the steel that fails," he said. "It's human pride in admitting that something simple can overcome the impossible." Months later, the new prototype supported 72 tons. But no one, not even Bailey, imagined that his creation would one day bear the weight of an entire invasion. No one imagined that this apparent failure carried the seed of victory. The first combat use took place in North Africa in 1942. Dry terrain, deep ditches, and infernal weather. Bailey bridges were hurriedly constructed to allow the advance against Rommel. The result? A disaster. Under the extreme heat, the metal expanded, the pins jammed, and the sections fell apart like dominoes. The reports were merciless. Structure unstable under prolonged load. M3 tanks stuck at the crossing. We recommend immediate discontinuation. The Germans laughed again. "The British are now building collapsible toys in the desert," wrote a correspondent from National Observer. Bailey silently asked for the reports. Every mistake noted, every piece that gave way, became a lesson learned. The next versions received a double layer of side panels, upper reinforcement and launch systems with pulleys, allowing the bridge to be assembled without stepping into the river. It was the birth of live-fire warfare engineering. But for now, the enemy was still right. The Rhine remained untouched. The turnaround began far away, in an English warehouse filled with welding smoke. The engineers were testing a new method of assembly, launching the bridge like a spear, sliding it across the void with a steel nose until it reached the opposite bank. It was an insane idea, but it worked. In less than 6 hours, a team could assemble a 60-meter bridge. No heavy tools, no overhead protection, no interruption. The US Army has embraced the technology with enthusiasm. In 1944, during the Normandy campaign, Bailey bridges accompanied every advance. 25,000 sections sent, 650 bridges erected under fire. Soldiers said, "If there is no bridge, Bailey creates one." But glory was yet to come, and it would come in the most unlikely place. The Rhine River, Germany's last wall. March 7, 1945, Remagen. An American patrol advances and encounters the unthinkable. The Ludendorff Bridge still stands. The Germans had prepared explosives, but the detonators failed. As officers run in panic, Sherman tanks crossed the Rhine for the first time. But the Remagen Bridge wouldn't hold. It was cracked, unstable, and about to collapse. The command orders: build a Bailey quickly. Under direct bombardment, 276 engineers work non-stop. The sound of hammers mixes with the whistle of bombs. Each panel weighs 250 kilos, passed from hand to hand in a human chain. The Germans watch in disbelief from the other side. They're rebuilding the bridge, under open fire. Try. In 32 hours, the Allies build a new crossing, 300 meters of steel and courage. The first convoy crosses, M4 tanks, ammunition trucks, ambulances. The Rhine, once a symbol of the inviolable border, is now an open road to the heart of Germany. A German report from March 9th admits, "The Americans built a bridge under conditions that defy reason. Our commanders call this diabolical engineering." The metallic sound of the boards echoes like war drums. The enemy stopped laughing. Now he feared what he had once despised. The Bailey Bridge became more than a structure. It became doctrine. Symbol of Allied speed, the ability to adapt, to improvise. While the Reich relied on fortifications, the Allies relied on mobility. Instead of protecting territories, they built paths. Each bridge built was an act of defiance against time, against the terrain, against the very concept of impossible. The numbers speak for themselves. More than 200 Bailey bridges erected during the Rhine crossing alone. Load capacity of up to 110 tons. Assembly in less than 12 hours under continuous fire. General Eisenhower wrote, "Without Bailey, the war would have lasted months longer. It was the silent weapon that won battles without firing a shot." But the bridge's power wasn't just in the steel. It was in the philosophy behind it. The belief that war is won through adaptation, not arrogance. As Hitler ordered, "Defend every meter," the Allies responded, "If there is no path, we will build one." April 1945. Allied troops cross the Rhine on all fronts. The Reich crumbles, and the columns of tanks move in metallic silence over the Bailey bridges. In the rubble of Remagen, an old German colonel watches the river. Remember the laughter, the maps, the words spoken with such certainty. They will never cross here. Now what he hears is not laughter. It is the sound of tracks, the creak of steel, the thunder of armored columns. He murmurs, "They built the impossible." The imaginary camera rises, revealing dozens of bridges crossing the Rhine like veins of a new world. The narrator concludes, "They laughed when they saw the first Bailey Bridge. They called it a toy, madness, a waste of time. But when the sound of bolts and hammers mingled with the thunder of artillery, realized that the impossible is not a barrier, it is an invitation. The thunder spoke, and the river was never theirs again. The story of the Bailey Bridge is the story of ingenuity over hubris, of adaptation on dogma, of the human hand transforming the impossible into a path. While empires built walls, anonymous engineers built bridges. And in the end it was they, not the generals, who decided the fate of the war.